All right, so are you ready to dive deep into Al Pacino?
Always up for that.
Because today we're really getting into his world with this new memoir, Sonny Boy.
Oh, yeah.
And you gave us quite the reading assignment with this one.
It's a big one.
It really is packed with stories.
It is.
But luckily we've got expert speaker here to help us break it all down so we can go from the South Bronx all the way to the Oscars and everything in between.
Yeah, this is no simple memoir.
Right.
This is Pacino really doesn't hold back, which
Yeah.
is what makes Sonny Boy so fascinating.
He really doesn't. And he doesn't just tell you what happened. He
Yeah.
puts you right there.
Absolutely.
Like you are living those years with him.
Yeah.
Especially those early years in the South Bronx. Expert speaker, can you paint that picture for us? Like what was his childhood actually like?
Yeah, so picture this. 1940s, 50s, South Bronx. You know, poverty. His parents were teenagers when he was born. He was raised mainly by his mother, Rose, and his grandparents. But even with those challenges, there was so much love and resilience within that family. And I think that really shaped him.
Yeah, and he says he was a kid who was like a cat with many more than 9 lives. Almost like he had to be tough to survive.
Right.
Which, when you think about it, expert speaker, isn't that kind of how he approaches a lot of his roles? That raw, instinctual energy?
Absolutely. I think Pacino learned to read people, situations, even danger from a young age.
Mm.
And that awareness translates incredibly well on screen.
Yeah.
Because he's not just acting.
Yeah.
He's bringing, a lifetime of observation to those characters.
It's like the streets were his first acting class, in a way.
Yeah. And then he discovers another one, the movie theater.
Oh, wow.
Pacino and his mother would escape into those dark theaters, lose themselves in the stories.
He says it wasn't just losing themselves, though. He
Yeah.
says those movies were supplying him with a future.
Mm.
Like he saw a reflection of what he could be. Do you think that maybe even subconsciously those viewings really affected the way he acted?
It's fascinating because we often underestimate the impact of our early experiences,
Right.
especially artistic ones.
Yeah.
I think it's completely plausible that those films, those genres, even those characters, they stayed with him
Yeah.
in a much deeper way.
It really makes you wonder, what if he had never had those experiences? Would he still be Al Pacino? And then, of course, he goes to the High School of Performing Arts. Talk about a completely different world.
Talk about a change of scenery, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Going from the streets of the Bronx to this haven for young artists.
Right.
It was huge for him. And this is where he found his tribe.
Right.
People who understood that passion in him.
And just as importantly, that's where he met Charlie Lawton.
Yes.
Now, Lawton wasn't just an acting coach. He was like a father figure to him.
Totally.
And I think in any field, but especially creative fields, everyone needs someone like that.
Absolutely. And Pacino speaks about Lawton with such reverence. Like Lawton saw something in him, nurtured his talent, but also challenged him
Right.
to dig deeper.
Wow.
There's a story in the book that really...
Oh, tell me. I love a good story.
So Pacino talks about how Lawton would stay up late with him night after night discussing roles.
Wow.
They'd dissect performances, they'd challenge interpretations, really wrestle with the work.
That's amazing.
Lawton wasn't just teaching technique. He was shaping an artist.
That's incredible to think that those late night talks helped create one of the best acting careers ever.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward just a bit. Expert speaker set the stage for us. How does Pacino go from a struggling actor to this huge star with The Godfather?
Okay, so picture this. 1972, Pacino's relatively unknown. He lands the role of Michael Corleone in The Godfather.
Right.
The movie explodes, critical acclaim, is a box office smash.
Yeah.
And suddenly, he's launched onto the world stage.
And this is where I think Sonny Boy gets really real. He doesn't try to pretend that fame is perfect. He talks about being isolated, the pressure, how he just wasn't prepared for any of it.
Yeah.
What did you think about how honest he was in those chapters?
I think it's incredibly refreshing, especially in this world where everything's curated and you're putting on a show.
Right.
But Pacino, he doesn't hold anything back.
Yeah.
He's talking about those dark nights of the soul, feeling lost, even turning to substances to cope.
It makes you realize that fame can't fix your problems.
No.
If anything, it makes them bigger.
Right.
And for someone like Pacino, who seems so private, to share that, it's really brave.
It is, and it reminds us that even our idols are human. They have vulnerabilities, they make mistakes.
Right.
They face those same demons we all do.
And he doesn't shy away from the tough stuff either, like his journey to sobriety.
Yeah.
That feels like kind of a turning point in the book.
Yeah.
Do you think finding that balance in his personal life, did that change his acting?
It's interesting, when you look at his career, you definitely see a change in those later performances.
Yeah.
There's like this maturity and nuance,
Right.
this depth of understanding that's really hard to describe, but you can just feel it.
Yeah, it's like he's not just playing the part anymore. He's
Right.
like living it,
Exactly.
bringing everything with him.
And it makes me think about something else he talks about in those later chapters too, fatherhood.
Oh, yeah.
He becomes a father a bit later in life,
Right.
but he writes about it with so much tenderness and joy.
Yeah.
It's clear it brought him a lot of happiness.
It's like finding that peace, that family. It's like you said, it adds another dimension to his work.
Yeah, and we see it in his choice of roles too.
Oh,
It's not just those tough guys anymore or those over-the-top characters.
Mhm.
There's a bigger range.
Yeah.
He's willing to explore those quieter, more thoughtful
It's
roles.
like he's in touch with a whole different side of himself.
Yeah, maybe even a newfound vulnerability. It really speaks to the power of growing as a person.
Yeah.
It's never too late to change, to find new things you love, new ways to express yourself.
And for Pacino, that's happening both on screen and off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that willingness to grow, to keep changing. That's what I'm left thinking about.
Yeah,
So as we're wrapping up our deep dive into Sonny Boy,
right.
what would you say is like the biggest takeaway? What should our listener really remember from this one?
I think for me, it's his love of acting.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been doing this for decades. He's at the top of his game.
Yeah.
But you can tell on every page how much he still loves it.
Right.
And it reminds us all to never lose that spark,
Oh, no, absolutely.
that desire to connect with people, whatever you do.
It's true. It's like he doesn't see acting as a job. It's more like who he is. There's this one part in the book where he says, and I'm going to try to do it justice. I knew that I was going to get there. That was my blessing. Maybe I learned it when my grandma fed me baby food and made me the star of all the stories she told me. Maybe it was my friends in the street. Maybe it was Marty Sheen or my great friend Charlie Lawton. When did it happen? Who was this kid with this fierce energy that could light a schoolyard at night? Something was driving me. I had to make it because that was the only way I would survive this world.
Wow.
I get chills every time I read it.
It's powerful, right? That idea that you're meant to do something,
Yeah.
to create, it's really inspiring.
And it reminds you that even someone like Al Pacino,
Right.
he has those same doubts we all do.
Absolutely.
He had to find his way too.
Yeah.
It's that honesty that makes Sonny Boy more than just another celebrity memoir,
It really is.
It's about the human spirit, how we can grow and never give up and how important it is to find what you're passionate about.
Beautifully said. But it's true. Sonny Boy reminds you that life is messy, it's unpredictable,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, it's the best teacher.
I love that.
It's about going on the journey, the highs and the lows,
Right.
and being brave enough to keep showing up, to keep creating.
Even when the spotlight is off.
Exactly.
Well said, expert speaker.
Mhm.
This has been such a great talk about Sonny Boy.
It really has. Always love getting to chat about him.
And for everyone listening, if you haven't seen his work, do yourself a favor and watch one of his films, any film, and then grab a copy of Sonny Boy. You will not be disappointed. It is real, it is honest, and it is absolutely inspiring. It's a look at an incredible life, live on his own terms, on screen and off.